People. Que pasa, sakpa, say what they do. Welcome to Crime Time News, where the difference is in the meds. Call it news with a buzz. First thing first, happy Father's Day to the real fathers out there. Mothers that are playing the father roles. Stepfather that step in and do their job. Even the father when no say them get a jacket. However, the jacket fits to a T and him still do him job. Big up to you. Happy Father's Day. First thing that is popping in the news, it is called The Rise and Fall of the Six, meaning Squash and his crew. For you to fall to the state that they are at right now, that means that they must have risen. Yes, they came from nothing to something. They got fame, they got fortune. However, the disappointing thing is what they did with that power, the fame and the fortune. More guns, like them say. More money, more problems. Sometimes you draw that problem on yourself. Such is the case as it pertains to Squash and the Six. Now, they came up by controversial means, and we understand sometimes you need a start in a life. When you take that start, and then you launder it, you rinse it, and you do something progressive with it. In the case of Squash and the Six, we saw that with the money and the power came a whole bunch of corruption, a whole bunch of crime, a whole bunch of people getting caught up, a whole bunch of people losing their life. So therefore, they used that power for the wrong thing. Now we saw a Squash situation. He left from Jamaica hot like fire. Based on information he was accused, pointed out in at least 8 murders. Why he was not ever extradited back to Jamaica, only God he knows. We see him left Jamaica. However, when he left Jamaica and he was still hot as an artist, he was out there on social media in a real life doing a whole bunch of buffoonery, meaning posing on social media with all sorts of tool, with all sorts of hot man around him. It was a recipe for disaster because of the fact that he was not really a green card holder and definitely not a citizen of the United States. He went to a place meaning Florida, and because Florida have some of the most lenient gun laws, you can go in the store, you can buy it. However, you need to be a legal citizen or resident in the area. Squash was neither of those. Squash was actually AANTED for MURDERS. Allegation. Don't know how the United States and Jamaica did not coordinate and say, listen, this man there on social media a pala off, and then this man is hot. How is that? However, it would come back and it would haunt him. We saw that his predicament where he ended up. I am going to speak about that further on in the news. So anyways, Squash got held because of some sorts of immigration thing. We know say the governor down there, Mr. DeSantis or whatever his name, he make some changes. Squash was out there exalted himself, and like them say, the higher that the monkey climbs is the more that he is exposed. Now him get locked up, me go come to the main story with him, Fredman, J-Man and all of them, how they got themselves in that predicament. Since he has been locked up, the buzzing topic in the news is a live that one of his ex-members, so-called ex-friend did. His name is Big Voice. Big Voice pretty much came out there and he said that, listen, Squash have a whole bunch of yes men around him. These yes men are the same reason why he end up in the predicament that he is presently in a whole bunch of trouble. Now, since that person did that live, and even while that person was on his live, he was getting a whole bunch of backlash. He was getting a whole bunch of threats of the MURDEROUS type. People that tell him say him a informer, him for DEAD, rate, lele, blue, blah, bling. One of those persons on the live was actually Squash Mother. It was confirmed. These people know each other. Them know them social media handle. So therefore, whenever them see them with a verified account, they know that that is the person that was on the live, I am assuming. So therefore, Squash Mother, along with some of the fans, was on the live and they were dissing this man, saying this man need for DEAD. Him a chat him out. As it pertains to Squash Mother, here is the thing. Squash Mother lost 2 sons already. One of them because of some sorts of medical condition. One of them notorious, GUNMAN. And then Squash again end up in the same predicament. So therefore, it seems as if this mother did not get enough pain, whether through medical reason, unfortunate, or whether through her sons being criminal or having all sorts of illegal activity calling up on their names. This mother is what we call one of those persons that facilitate the FUCKRY. If you remember, when Squash was caught in the state of emergency and he was locked up for a few, she was one of those persons that said that, yes, the popo always harass me son them no do nothing, them innocent, while all the while Squash's name has been calling up on some sorts of illegal activity. That is how he was making his living. Through unscrupulous, illegitimate ways. That is a fact. So the mother came out and she was pretty much BASSHING, this youth on him live. She a say him a fish, she a say him a this, she a say him a that. She even made a post and she said that he, meaning Big Voice, told her that, listen, me go sleep with one producer man and me start for leak. So what can you do to help me? You and I know that that is a lie. You and I know that when persons' backs are against the wall, they will say just about anything. Whenever a dog is cornered, he will BITE. That is the case in this case. So therefore, Squash Mother, I am not going to say that she is totally responsible for Squash, his brother, and their predicament. However, she did not advise them wisely that, listen, maybe you need a new course of action. Maybe you need to change your ways. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. Not only is she facilitating it, she is also said to be the cause of some sorts of controversy. It is said that Squash's mother was also sleeping with one of his friends. Now, people, you and I as decent people, you and I know that the possibility or probability of my mother sleeping with one of my friends is going to be 0 or none. Me nah say it nah happen. However, if it should happen, she would fall into the Sketalina low-life kind of category. So people, when we check it out, the persons that are defending or trying to defame this youth, claiming that he has no credibility, have ulterior motive. They are friends, they are yes men, they are mothers of Squash. They are defendant of that brand known as the 6IX. Talking about Squash Mother. What she says has to be taken with a grain of salt, especially when she come out and said the UGAY. It seems as if she was desperate. She had no other line of defense. And you know, when you talk about people GAY and you're any sort of gangster, you're going to want to stay wide of that. That might also set up this youth life, because here he is dissing Squash, dissing the 6, and he is a fish. So you see exactly what she was trying to do. There was a next youth, his name is DELPERO 6, and this was based on an interview that was done by a next channel. A friend of my enemy is also my enemy. However, I am not afraid to give acknowledgement and give respect where respect is due. Not going to call any names, but who know, leave it right there, sir. In this youth, him also come out and I say yes. Big voice, bad mind. Big voice, don't like Squash, him no respect Squash. How big voice for you say a Squash friend them lead him astray, when he was the one that was actually taking care of Big Voice, that is DELPERO 6. So how Big Voice about Squash when him can't even manage him own self, him can't sustain him own livelihood. He gave a whole bunch of stuff that he did for Big Voice. Is it true? I have no doubts. However, when he claims that Squash do whatever he so choose to do, Squash don't have any sort of yes man. That is hard to believe, because when I listen to you, it seems as if you are biased. It seems as if you are one-sided. It seems as if you are delusional, just like most of the people, including Squash's mother, including most of the defenders, meaning the fans. I will get to the fans later. So that is what he had to say. Squash do what he has to do. Squash no listen to nobody. Now people, here's the thing with this yes man and fallbacker syndrome. If you can't talk to anybody that is supposed to be a leader, if there's no sorts of line of communication, especially when that person is headed down a slippery slope, maybe you might want to rethink your association with that person, because that person will bring you down, and Squash has brought down many of persons. So that was DELPERO 6. There's a next one, Bobby 6. Bobby 6 is said to be the brother of 6. He came out, and I guess he is promoting some sorts of song with him and Squash, and there was also Big Voice in the background. So pretty much he was sending some sorts of subliminal that, listen, them attack and music we are do. And people, you understand, in dancehall, controversy and drama and SEX sales. While this topic is hot, this is the best time, because you're going to get the most mileage. Again, Bobby 6, bias. Bobby 6, brother is Squash. Bobby 6, mother was also dissed up by Big Voice. So therefore, he had ulterior motive. When it comes to the fans, it is a short for phonetics. That means them love this person or that set or that group, the 6. So therefore, these people can actually do no sorts of wrong. It is like a CULT following. They are going to believe everything that is advantageous to the person who they are a fan of, and they are going to BASH everybody else that stand against them, whether it is the truth or not. So again, a set of delusional fans, point blank and period. Now people, let's talk about all of the people that facilitated, were fallbacker, were involved indirectly or directly with the demise of Squash and the 6. Let's talk about THE-6IX. We know that THE-6IX lost his baby mother and his child. We know that THE-6IX was supposed to be the state witness, so therefore more than likely he got some sorts of legal stay in America because of that. However, THE-6IX did not defend his baby mother and his child like he is defending or was defending Squash and the 6. And we saw where it led. It led to him being locked up in the big yard along with Squash, along with Fredman, along with J-Man. Now people, we know say Fredman and J-Man follow back a Squash, leave from Jamaica when them get hot, them end up in a America. They were in some of the videos with Squash, meaning Fredman and J-Man. We know that J-Man, he was a part of that double in a Fort Lauderdale, Blueberry Hill apartment to be specific, 56 and Oakland Park, in which two person, meaning Muscleman and the next one, lost their life, them brain BLOWN out. We know that the feds had J-Man picture from social media, match the picture on the CCTV. He was arrested for said double. We know that J-Man is looking at the DEATH penalty based on the severity of the crime. So therefore, Fredman follow, J-Man follow, all of them in cahoots with Squash. All of them went down. Those are the persons that followed Squash. You saw exactly where it led. Let's talk about the people that stayed away from Squash. Jahvillani. Jahvillani, talented artist. Jahvillani get a bus. Jahvillani saw exactly what was going on. There was all sorts of controversy as it pertains to Squash and Jahvillani. So therefore, they went their separate ways. Jahvillani knew that he had his talent, so therefore he was not dependent upon Squash. The same can be said for an artist known as Chronicler, maybe the most versatile artist that was once a part of the Six. He represented the Six brand as if it was signed in BLOOD. He was one of the loyal soldiers. But again, when you put a bunch of snakes in a set of box or a box, they are always going to turn on each other as to who was the snake, who initiated, who crossed, who backbite who. People may not know. That is yet to be determined. That is something that they have to work out for themselves. We know that Squash name was also called up in some sorts of incident between two sets of lane in a St. Thomas. That is yet to be determined. We know that he is a God-gifted artist. We know that he is talented. What is most important is that he smelled the rats. There was controversy brewing in the camp, and for whatever reason, just like Jahvillani, they parted way. So people, if you see exactly what is going on, we see that there's always some sorts of contention. So therefore, if you and somebody can get along, it is like a relationship between a man and a woman. Not really the same thing, but you get the point. It is best you go east, that person go west, and you continue with your journey, musical journey that is. That is exactly what Jahvillani did. That is exactly what Chronicler did. Because they have their own talents. They have their own skill set. They can function independently of Squash, of that Six brand. When we look at Big Voice, he is in controversy because maybe he is not as talented. So therefore he was dependent on Squash. It came back and it haunted him. When you look at Squash mother, it is her natural instinct she's going to defend her son. When you look on DELPERO 6, yes, he might have been making some sorts of money elsewhere. However, he was still dependent, defending the Six, defending Squash. The same can be said for Bobby 6. All of them are set of follow back. All of them, it seems as if, will go down with this ship, which is sinking by the moment, by the minute, by the day. People, do not have loyalty in something that have no sorts of loyalty for you. Whenever you are a criminal and is out there taking away people, Whenever your name is being called upon a whole bunch of takeaway, a whole bunch of SHOOTING, it means you have no conscience. If you have no conscience, you can have no loyalty. You cannot be loyal to something that is not loyal to you. When you've seen the many signs to show you that, listen, I cannot depend on this person or this group. They will fail me like they fail a whole bunch of other persons. So people, that is my view as it pertains to everything. The 6 rise and the 6 fall. I doubt it. And people like them say, if it not DEAD, don't count it out. However, in my opinion, if I was a betting man, and I am not, I would say that the 6 will never rise after this fall. That is it. It is done and dusted. Point blank and period. So anyways, people, thanks once again for checking out my video. If you appreciate videos like these, please show your appreciation by liking, commenting, sharing and subscribing to my channel. That is how YouTube promotes videos like these to like-minded, sensible persons like yourself. And last but not least, please subscribe to my next channel. It is called Jamaica Dancehall Source. I'll be pinning the link to that channel in the description of this video. Bless up.